In today's Kara's Cure, we're talking about spirituality. It's been a big buzzword recently, and we're actually here with a spirit coach, Pamela McQuade, who is talking us how important spirituality is to your marriage specifically.
Right.
Now, Pamela, you grew up Catholic, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. We're, the most Catholic state outside of Rhode Island, but we're probably tied in the country. And I think people actually get confused. What is spirituality versus religion? They're not necessarily the same thing.
That's right. So this is a great question because this comes up a lot. I had written an article about this. There are so many misconceptions about spirituality, and bingo, that's probably the top one, religion. So it's really like this. Spirituality is going within yourself and helping yourself find your inner guidance. So born and raised Catholic, you can be religious and not be spiritual at all, not practice any of the spiritual principles. Or vice versa, you can be very spiritual and still be going to church and practice whatever faith you practice.
Sure.
So that's
there's different tools, but they're not the same. I think people get confused about what it means. And you talk about the first steps of spirituality. If you want to be leading a more spiritual life, what are some of the first steps you can be taking?
Sure. There are a lot of books written about this, but affirming the positive, really changing your mindset so that you're thinking positive and understanding that your thoughts and your words really do create your reality. You know, giving is receiving. You know,
Scott's laughing at us.
Sarah tells me that every single day. And
yes,
I'm like,
because he's always having these negative thoughts. I'm like, stop it, you're creating negativity.
That's right.
So, you know, I think a lot of us are believers. It's easier said than done, but spirituality is not a magic bullet. It's a beginning. It's a mindset. It doesn't solve everything.
Right. Well, it's a lifestyle change, to be quite frank, because once you start doing other things, you know, giving is receiving, being grateful for what you have, you start changing how you think about life and what you're creating in your life.
And a lot of those principles we've been taught growing up Catholic too. It's just incorporating them. You've actually talked about in your marriage how speaking the language of love, even when you're arguing, that's a way to be spiritual.
Absolutely, because what happens a lot of times in marriages is the first thing that you go to is a negative thought process. When you're arguing or disagreeing, you tend to get into verbal sparring rather than really stepping back and speaking from a place of love and learning. Listen to the other person. You know, step back for a minute. I always tell couples, you know, even just communicating, that's one of the first things that goes out the door. We don't communicate at all anymore, and when we do, you know, verbal sparring all the time.
Right. And that leads into what you're saying about being open-minded. When you say listening, we get really bent on being right.
That's
and really you want to be open-minded.
Yes, really focusing your communication on caring and learning.
And setting guidelines?
Setting guidelines.
Does that mean that every Wednesday we have a meeting that we're supposed to talk about what's bothering us? I mean, you actually say you should set up some things in your week to have time to talk about things.
You have to do that. And I really say you should talk every day. Maybe it's just 15 minutes, but I tell you, so many couples, we're in a busy, chaotic world right now. Do not take time to talk. Some people aren't
talking. Other than, what are you doing and when are you coming home and did you get the kids?
Exactly. You got the kids, all that. No, what's important is a relationship as a couple. Are you really speaking about how your day's going and what's in your heart?
Staying positive, you're saying. This goes back to what Scott and I were talking about, that whatever you're thinking is helping create the situation.
You're constantly creating, okay? And that's the biggest piece that I think people miss, is they really don't get that link. That in your mind, you're constantly creating, in your heart and your mind, the things that you're saying and what you think of your life. As I say, you can always upgrade or downgrade your vision at any time of your life, but do you even have a picture of what your life should look like?
Right. There's where our vision boards come in. We've done a story on those.
That's right.
You know, thank you so much for being here. And if people want to find out more information, you've just written a new book, right?
Yes, I have.
What's it called?
It's called Pauper to Princess, 12 Keys to Unlock Your Inner Richness. I've written it. I'm seeking agent representation now. But Spirituality is Sexy is my website. And there's a lot of information there.
We'll have that. Spirituality is Sexy. All right, we'll have that on our website so people can find out more information. Thank you for coming all the way from Dallas.
Yes, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
From Dallas. She comes without her 10-gallon hat, though.
That's amazing. Thank you. Wow.